China, land of imperial cities, land of sacred mountains, land of silk and ancient traditions. A wall of 21,000 kilometers emerges from the mist. Majestic mountains rise toward the sky. Ancient traditions persist unchanged through the centuries. Welcome to China. Welcome to the fourth largest country in the world. Known as the Middle Kingdom, this is a land where the balance of yin and yang shapes daily life, where rivers have cradled civilizations for millennia, and where 56 different ethnic groups share a history that dates back to the dawn of humanity. But let's start from the beginning. China extends across East Asia, a geographic colossus that spans 5 different time zones, though it uses only one as its national time. This means that in Tibet or Xinjiang, the sun can rise even after 10 in the morning. Although about 70% of the country is mountainous, with Mount Everest majestically rising to 8,848 meters on the border between Tibet and Nepal, China remains an incredible mosaic of landscapes. Indeed, the scenery varies from arid deserts like the Gobi to lush tropical forests, and from vast plains to coastlines that stretch for over 14,000 kilometers. Moreover, 2 great rivers dominate this nation: the Yellow River, which is considered the cradle of Chinese civilization, and the Yangtze, which is the 3rd longest river in the world and a vital artery for Chinese transportation and agriculture. This natural environment is home to the 2nd world's largest population, with over 1.4 billion people, 94% of whom are concentrated in the eastern half of the country. And although 91% belong to the Han ethnicity, China officially recognizes 55 ethnic minorities, each with unique languages, customs, and traditions. From Tibetans to Mongolians, from Uyghurs to Zhuang, it is a true cultural kaleidoscope that enriches the social fabric of the country. Furthermore, Chinese cities are growing at breakneck speed, constantly redesigning the nation's skyline. Shanghai, for example, dominates with its population of over 26 million, while Shenzhen perhaps represents the most impressive urban miracle, having transformed from a small city in 1979 to a high-tech megalopolis with more than 17 million inhabitants in just 4 decades. Even when it comes to language, China holds records. Mandarin is spoken by over 1 billion people, making it the most widely spoken language in the world. But this is just the tip of the Chinese linguistic iceberg, which includes hundreds of dialects, some so different they are considered separate languages, such as Cantonese or Wu. Additionally, China's intellectual heritage has shaped human history. thanks to four great inventions: paper, printing, the compass, and gunpowder. The invention of tea is also associated with China, dating back over 4,000 years to Emperor Shennong, beginning a tradition that today sees China as the largest producer and consumer of this beverage. In this nation, philosophy permeates every aspect of daily life. For example, the concept of yin and yang, the balance between opposite and complementary forces such as light and shadow, or masculine and feminine, guides not only thought but also traditional Chinese medicine, with ancient medical practices based on the five elements and energetic harmony, like acupuncture or tuina massage. Time itself in this land flows following ancient rhythms. Chinese New Year, based on the lunar calendar, changes date every year between January and February and marks the beginning of a new zodiac year. 2025, for example, will be the year of the snake. Usually this holiday unites families scattered throughout the country in a time of celebrations, traditions, and hope for the future. China, therefore, is much more than a simple nation. It is a universe in continuous evolution, a place that has been intertwining tradition and innovation for millennia. But now, let's discover the most incredible and iconic places in this nation. Tianzi Mountains. These mountains dominate the territory of Hunan, in a realm where nature has created its own sanctuary. Mist dances around the sandstone peaks, transforming this place into a world suspended between heaven and earth. These natural formations, which gave life to the scenery of Avatar, reveal themselves to visitors through cable cars that float in the air and paths that wind among the rocks. Visitors walk in silence among these peaks, where each step unveils a new mystery of the natural world. Hidden paths wind through ancient forests and mist-covered valleys, while water flows over the rocks, shaping the landscape over millennia. Xinjiang Region. On the western border of China lies a territory that is as vast as it is diverse, where deserts and mountains create strange landscapes that seem to belong to another planet. This region is home primarily to the Taklamakan Desert, surrounded by the mountain ranges of the Pamir, Tian Shan, and Kunlun. But the landscape diversity of Xinjiang is truly amazing. Deep canyons carved by clear rivers contrast with vast desert expanses of golden dunes. Alpine lakes, meanwhile, mirror at the feet of majestic snow-capped peaks. And then there are the boundless green prairies of the summer season, which host rich biodiversity, while the oddly shaped rock formations in the Yardang Desert appear like sculptures shaped by the wind. Every corner of this land offers unique, science fiction-like panoramas that change dramatically with the succession of seasons. River and Yangshuo. A ribbon of water flowing between mountains that seemed drawn by a master of ancient China. The Li River flows between the towns of Guilin and Yangshuo, revealing an incredible panorama that also appears on the 20 yuan banknotes. Here, local fishermen keep alive the tradition of fishing with cormorants, a testimony to an ancestral bond between humans and nature. Yangshuo, meanwhile, with its lively markets and stone streets, represents the meeting point between tradition and modernity. At dawn, when the morning mist envelops the karst hills and the river reflects the first rays of sunlight, one perceives the breath of a land that has nourished generations of poets and artists. This landscape of water and rock continues to inspire those seeking the essence of rural and more authentic China, far from the roar of metropolises. Fenghuang. In the southern province of Hunan, there is a city that has crossed the centuries without losing its essence. Fenghuang, known as the Phoenix City, stretches along the banks of the Tuo River, with stilt houses that reflect in the waters of the river flowing beneath them. Time seems to stand still as the morning light illuminates the roofs and streets, which have seen generations of merchants, artisans, and poets. Here, the Miao and Tujia cultures are still alive in local traditions, in the sounds and colors that bring to life the stone bridges crossing the river. These centuries-old structures, such as the famous Wind and Rain Bridge, are not merely passageways but social hubs where locals meet, trade, and share stories. During the night, red lanterns illuminate the bridges and passages, creating an idyllic scene that transports visitors to a past era. This place certainly tells a piece of Chinese history, but also reminds us of ethnic minorities and a heritage that resists the advancing modernization in the rest of the country. Rainbow Mountains of Danxia. In the province of Gansu lies one of the most extraordinary landscapes on our planet. The Rainbow Mountains are formed by layers of colored rock that have been deposited one on top of the other over the course of millions of years. These layers have incredibly vivid colors, from intense red to yellow, green, and blue. Over time, rain and wind have worked on these rocks, shaping them into undulating forms and creating a landscape unique in the world. These magnificent colored layers are not only beautiful to see, but are also very important for scientists because they tell 24 million years of Earth's history. Geologists are still trying to understand exactly how these intense and unusual colors formed in the rock. This special place shows us how nature can create works of art more surprising than any human could, and it is certainly a place where Earth's science transforms into a wonderful spectacle of colors. Shanghai. On the banks of the Huangpu River, where once there was a simple commercial port, now stands a true metropolis. Shanghai pulses with the energy of 26 million inhabitants, moving between futuristic skyscrapers and traditional alleys. The Bund district still shows European-style buildings, constructed when foreigners controlled parts of Shanghai between the 1800s and 1900s. But just cross the Huangpu River to find yourself in Pudong, where enormous modern skyscrapers rise, where until a few decades ago, there were only cultivated fields. In the heart of the metropolis, the old city with its winding alleys and traditional shops offers an authentic glimpse of pre-modern Shanghai, where craftsmen continue to practice ancient trades in buildings with curved roofs and dark wooden facades. Yet just a few blocks from the hustle and bustle, the Yew Gardens offer peace and tranquility among rocks and water, while at night the lights transform the skyline into a spectacle that reflects the ambition of a nation. Shaanxi Region. In the heart of China opens a land that guards the origins of Chinese civilization and the history of emperors who unified the nation. Shaanxi reveals layers of history, with Xi'an as the ancient capital of different dynasties. Here underground, an army has been waiting for over 2,000 years. The Terracotta Army reveals itself to visitors as a force immobile in time, with thousands of warriors, each with a unique face and expression, ready to protect Emperor Qin Shi Huang in the afterlife. The discovery made in 1974 has changed our understanding of Chinese history and the technical capabilities of ancient artisans. In this place, the pits continue to reveal secrets, while archaeologists work patiently to reconstruct this puzzle of earth and history. Shaanxi also preserves kiwi plantations, Buddhist temples, and villages that maintain ancient traditions, offering a glimpse into the soul of Chinese culture. Great Wall of China. A stone dragon that winds through mountains and deserts for over 20,000 kilometers. The Great Wall is not a simple wall. It is the largest constructive undertaking in human history, visible even from space. Each stone tells a story of sacrifice, but also of incredible determination. In fact, it is said that for every meter of the wall, one worker died. Built and rebuilt for over 2,000 years, the wall is a living history book in which each dynasty has added its own chapter, modifying techniques and materials. In some places, rice was used as mortar, creating a binding agent more resistant than modern cement. As you walk on its ancient steps worn by time, each step takes you through centuries of history, wars, trade, and dreams of empires that believed they could build eternity in stone. Jiuzhaigou. Hidden among the mountains of Sichuan, an immense and at the same time majestic realm of water is revealed. Jiuzhaigou takes its name from the 9 Tibetan villages that once inhabited this valley, now a nature reserve and UNESCO heritage site. The lakes follow one another in a cascade of basins, which change color with the seasons and hours of the day, shifting from turquoise to deep blue, from green to purple. Water flows between coniferous and deciduous forests, while sunlight penetrates to the bottom of the lakes, revealing the bed and fallen trunks within. Tibetan culture, moreover, still lives in the traditions and temples scattered throughout the valley, where wind prayers mingle with the sound of water. This place represents the harmony between nature and spirituality, a place where elements combine to create a spectacle that continuously changes. Suzhou. To the west of Shanghai hides a city where water and land intertwine. Suzhou, with its network of canals that pass through ancient neighborhoods, has earned the title of Venice of the East. This city exists in a constant dualism. In fact, there are modern districts with skyscrapers that coexist with historic areas, where time seems not to have passed. The classical gardens, dating back to the Ming and Qing dynasties, tell Chinese philosophy through the arrangement of rocks, water, architecture, and vegetation. Each space is designed as a microcosm, with houses along the canals preserving white stone facades that reflect on the water. Jinji Lake, on the other hand, is the vibrant heart of the modern area, surrounded by skyscrapers that reflect in its waters at night, creating a dazzling light show. This urban reservoir has become a symbol of contemporary Suzhou, with its impressive skyline, futuristic bridges, and lakeside promenades bustling with visitors and residents day and night. Hong Kong. Where east meets west in an embrace between sea and mountains, rises a metropolis that never sleeps. Hong Kong pulses with the energy of 7 million people moving between glass and steel skyscrapers, traditional markets, and temples fragrant with incense. The waters of Victoria Harbour divide Hong Kong Island from the Kowloon Peninsula, creating a skyline that lights up every evening in a spectacle of lights and colors. Sampans, traditional boats that once housed entire families, navigate alongside ferries and cruise ships in a harbor that has made the fortune of this city. On Victoria Peak, tourists discover a view that embraces the bay and surrounding islands, while in the alleys of Central, flavors from around the world mix. Hong Kong preserves two souls, the frantic rhythm of financial districts, and the peace of national parks that cover 70% of the territory, with paths leading through subtropical forests to hidden beaches. Gansu Region. In the corridor between Tibet and Mongolia, there is a territory where deserts, mountains, and grasslands create a unique mosaic of landscapes. This region, crossed by the ancient Silk Road, preserves traces of merchants, monks, and warriors who have traveled these lands. There are the Mogao Caves carved into the rock of Dunhuang, which guard Buddhist frescoes, testimony to the meeting between different cultures. And then there are the Maijishan grottos, carved into a steep rock face, which house thousands of Buddhist statues embedded in the mountain. These clay and stone figures, some several meters tall, have watched over the valley below for centuries and are accessible only via vertiginous walkways that cling to the mountain. Gansu represents a hidden China, far from the metropolises, where time follows different rhythms. Beijing. A capital that embraces 3,000 years of history and looks to the future with determination. Beijing tells the past through the Forbidden City, home to 24 emperors of the Ming and Qing dynasties, with its 9,000 rooms and courtyards that follow one another in a path from the outside world to the center of power. Then there is Tiananmen Square, dominated by the large portrait of Mao Zedong and surrounded by government buildings, which remains a powerful political symbol of the country. Temples and summer palaces offer refuge from the urban frenzy, with artificial lakes and pavilions that invite contemplation, while the hutongs, narrow alleys formed by traditional houses, resist in the shadow of skyscrapers. In the evenings, finally, the aromas of street food mix with the sound of conversations and laughter. Yangtze River and the Three Gorges. This majestic river crosses the heart of China for 6,000 kilometers, connecting like a vital artery the remote Tibetan mountains to the Pacific Ocean. On its journey east, the river winds between imposing rock walls that form the famous three gorges, Kutang, Wu, and Xiling. These natural formations, with walls rising hundreds of meters, tell geological stories through their layers of rock rich in fossils. Here, ancient temples cling to steep slopes, while charming villages endure the rhythm of the waters. Along the course of the river, instead, important cities such as Chongqing, Wuhan, and Nanjing have developed, thanks to the fertility of the alluvial plains and the communication routes offered by the river. Finally, in the early morning hours, light mists envelop the mountain peaks, creating that effect of floating mountains that has inspired generations of Chinese artists. Hangzhou. On the edge of the Yangtze Delta rises Hangzhou, a city where nature and culture blend harmoniously. Its jewel is West Lake, a mirror of water that transforms with the passing of hours and seasons. Elegant stone bridges cross the inlets covered with lotus flowers, leading to islands where traditional pagodas soar, while the city's gardens follow ancient design principles that recreate natural landscapes in miniature. Along the shores of the lake, moreover, weeping willows are reflected in the water, and tourists follow historical paths. While on the surrounding hills, plantations produce the precious Longjing tea, still handpicked according to ancient techniques. This tea, also known as Dragon Well, is celebrated for its subtle aroma and delicate flavor, and is so highly prized that it was declared an imperial tea during the Qing dynasty. Fanjing Mountain Temple. Suspended between heaven and earth, an architectural jewel defies the laws of gravity on the peak of Mount Fanjing. This Buddhist temple, embedded in the rock at an altitude of 2,336 meters, represents the triumph of human determination over the wildest nature. Reachable only through 8,888 steps carved into the mountain, the temple witnesses the passing of seasons, while clouds dance around its ancient walls, enveloping it in a veil of mystery. Here, where the air grows thin, The primordial vegetation of the subtropical rainforest embraces the structure, creating a unique ecosystem in the world. It is the perfect manifestation of how sacred architecture can merge with the majesty of untouched nature. Chengdu. In the Sichuan region lies Chengdu, a city that wonderfully blends the ancient with the modern. Its streets are shaded by enormous weeping willows, some hundreds of years old. While in the narrower alleys, time seems to have stood still. The heart of social life is its tea parks, where local people play mahjong and chat while sipping tea. Furthermore, this is home to the Giant Panda Research Center, one of the most renowned research centers in the world, where scientists from all over the globe work to save these beautiful animals, which have become a symbol of China. These gentle black and white giants, which in the wild feed almost exclusively on bamboo, have found a safe haven here, where they can reproduce and live protected from the threat of extinction that endangers their species. Guangxi Region. In southern China, there is a land of incredible landscapes that seem to come from a fairy tale book. Here you can see strangely shaped hills that emerge from the ground like islands in a green sea made of rice fields. Moreover, the rice fields are built in terraces, following the natural shape of the land, changing colors and even creating water mirrors as the seasons pass. On the southern coast of this region, however, lies Beihai City, a historic port city facing the Gulf of Tonkin. With its white sandy beaches and clear waters, it offers a striking contrast to the mountainous inland. But the city is also famous for its commercial pass, when it was an important center for the pearl trade, which is still carried out in its waters today. This region, with its extraordinary blend of natural beauty and cultural traditions, represents one of the most authentic and lesser-known treasures of China. Yunnan Region. On the southwestern border of China lies Yunnan, a true mosaic of cultures and landscapes. In this region, the Himalayan mountains descend southward, forming deep valleys where rare plants grow that are not found in any other part of the world. Here the three pagodas of Dali rise majestically in the plain, silent witnesses to over 1,000 years of history. These brick monuments, with the central pagoda reaching 70 meters in height, have withstood numerous earthquakes thanks to construction techniques that allowed flexibility during tectonic movements. The pagodas represent a meeting point between Buddhism and local Bai culture, with inscriptions in Sanskrit and Chinese that speak of pilgrimages and devotion. Not far away, the stone forest emerges from the ground like a labyrinth of limestone formations. This karst phenomenon extends for hundreds of square kilometers, creating a surreal landscape where rock spires rise from the ground like petrified trees. Local legends tell stories of betrayals and lovers transformed into stone, while scientists study these monuments as testimony to ancient oceans now disappeared. Then there are the villages of the Shangri-La area, where Tibetan culture survives with temples, with golden decorations and colored prayer flags waving in the wind. In the tropical forests of the southern part, wild elephants walk the trails, while historic cities along the ancient tea road remind us of the merchants who transported this precious product to Tibet, Burma, and other countries. Yunnan, therefore, is a natural and cultural laboratory in continuous evolution, a special place where diversity is not an obstacle, but becomes a source of richness. Fujian Region. On the southeastern coast lies Fujian, a place where mountains and sea meet, creating landscapes that have influenced the lifestyle of inhabitants for generations. This region is famous for the ancient Hakka villages known as Tulu, extraordinary structures with thick rammed earth walls where entire family clans live together for protection. These Tulu, recognized as UNESCO heritage since 2008, impress with their monumental dimensions, with some reaching 5 stories in height and housing up to 800 people of the same family lineage. They are built with an ingenious mixture of clay, sand, lime, and bamboo wood, and demonstrate surprising resistance to earthquakes, fires, and attacks. In addition to the Hakka, Fujian is home to the Minnan people, whose traditional houses feature curved roofs and elaborate decorations, mainly found in coastal cities and hillside villages. Furthermore, on the mountain slopes, tea plantations grow high-quality varieties, while along the coast, fishermen continue to practice traditional fishing techniques, including seafood harvesting and oyster farming. Shenzhen. In just 40 years, Shenzhen has transformed from a small fishing town into an ultra-modern metropolis, symbolizing China's contemporary transformation. The city vibrates with the energy of 17 million people, who have come from all parts of the country in search of new opportunities. In this city, we find imposing skyscrapers rising from the ground, technology parks housing futuristic laboratories, and electronics markets offering components that fuel innovation worldwide. Despite this rush toward modernity, some traditional temples still hide among the shopping malls, while in the theme parks, traditional Chinese landscapes are recreated in an attempt to preserve a sense of history in a city almost without a past. Yardang Water Landform. In the heart of the Chinese desert, water has sculpted rocks for millennia, creating a landscape that tells the story of the meeting between two opposing elements. Erosion has given birth to formations that look like natural works of art, while wind has helped shape the curves and lines of this unique scenery. Visitors walk among these stone monuments, witnesses to a process that continues without pause since immemorial times. Furthermore, sunlight strikes the surfaces of these natural sculptures, continuously changing the appearance of the landscape throughout the day. Yardang represents a testament to the transformative power of nature and the patience with which water, drop by drop, can shape even the hardest stone. Nanjing. On the Yangtze River stands Nanjing, a city that bears the important weight of Chinese history, both ancient and recent. It has been the capital of 10 different dynasties, and each era has left visible marks on the city's structure. The imposing walls of the Ming Dynasty, for example, extend for 33 kilometers and are among the best preserved in all of China. Among the modern neighborhoods, ancient Buddhist temples hide, offering quiet spaces for reflection, while the majestic mausoleum of Sun Yat-sen honors the founder of the Chinese Republic. There are also large century-old plane trees that provide shade to the avenues, while lakes and parks create green spaces in the urban landscape, where residents practice Tai Chi at the first light of dawn. Nanjing also preserves painful memories of the Sino-Japanese War, but looks ahead with the determination of a city that has fallen and risen many times throughout its long history. Guangzhou. A great city that for centuries has been China's face, open to the outside world. This metropolis vibrates with the energy of commerce, which has shaped its identity since the times of the ancient Tang dynasty. The river divides the city into different zones that tell different historical periods. For example, there is Hainan Island with its colonial-style buildings, ancestral temples, and modern glass skyscrapers reflected in the waters of the river. In the crowded markets, fresh ingredients, roots, and medicinal herbs collected from distant mountains are sold, giving life to the famous Cantonese cuisine that has won over international palates, with dishes served according to customs dating back to the times of the Silk Road. Finally, in Guangzhou's parks, the elderly practice calligraphy on stone floors, while the city still maintains its character as a bridge between China and the rest of the world. Heilongjiang Region. In the northernmost point of China, we find Heilongjiang, a land where winter dominates for half the year. This region borders Russia, and this influence is visible especially in the architecture of the city of Harbin, with domes and facades reminiscent of those in St. Petersburg. Here, vast boreal forests cover mountains and valleys and are the last refuge for rare Siberian tigers in China. During winter, rivers freeze completely and transform into natural roads for sleds and scooters, while the famous Ice and Snow Festival illuminates winter nights with enormous sculptures that reproduce palaces and temples made entirely of translucent ice. Heilongjiang is certainly a world of extreme contrasts, where life adapts and manages to prosper even in the most difficult conditions. Huangshan Mountain. A massif that has inspired poets, painters, and philosophers for millennia. Known as the Yellow Mountain, it emerges from the clouds with granite pinnacles that defy gravity. The pines cling to the vertical cliffs, growing in shapes that defy imagination, enduring winds and storms for hundreds of years, while pilgrims ascend about 60,000 stone-carved steps to witness the sunrise from the summit. The sea of clouds that often envelops the peaks creates a landscape that seems to float between heaven and earth, continuously transforming with the passing of hours and seasons. This mountain has defined the aesthetics of Chinese landscape painting and continues to represent the essence of natural beauty in Chinese culture. Zhejiang Region. On the eastern coast of China lies Zhejiang, a land where mountains, islands, and cities blend together, creating a mosaic of landscapes. Among the hills of this region, ancient villages are hidden, surrounded by plantations that produce some of the world's finest teas. The Grand Canal, an impressive hydraulic feat, runs through the northern part of the province, serving as a transportation system that has connected northern and southern China for over 2,000 years. Off the coast, more than 1,000 islands of the Zhoushan archipelago rise from the sea, forming intricate waterways. Continuing on, Buddhist temples rise in the mountains, offering refuge to monks and pilgrims, while in the cities like Ningbo, historic buildings stand alongside modern shopping malls. Zhejiang, with its landscapes and villages, perfectly embodies the balance between tradition and progress that defines the soul of the nation. Guizhou Region. In the mountainous heart of southern China, there is a land where clouds and mountains merge, creating landscapes that seem to come from traditional Chinese paintings. This region is home to numerous ethnic minorities such as the Miao, Dong, and Buyi, each with their own languages, customs, and unique architectural styles. Villages are built on mountainsides with characteristic wooden houses overlooking terraced rice fields, while on rivers that have carved deep gorges over millennia, there are covered bridges traditionally built without the use of nails. Here, during traditional festivals, women wear hand-embroidered clothes and dance to the rhythm of drums and bamboo flutes. Hainan Island. A tropical paradise that challenges the traditional image of the country. Hainan extends into the South China Sea as a haven of biodiversity and culture. White sand beaches embrace transparent waters, where coral reefs host various marine species. While in the interior, rainforests hide waterfalls and hot springs, habitats for medicinal plants used in traditional Chinese medicine. Red-faced macaques, a species endemic to the island, populate Hainan's nature reserves, part of an ecosystem that includes over 4,200 plant species and hundreds of unique animal species in this microclimate. Hainan represents the true contrast of contemporary China, that is an international tourism center that coexists with diverse communities maintaining an ancient lifestyle. Concluding this visual journey through China, we have moved from the charm of its ancient imperial cities to its most incredible landscapes, exploring together not only places, but also curiosities that make every corner of this land unique. We hope that the images and stories told have enriched your knowledge and stimulated the desire to personally explore the extraordinary beauty of this fascinating country.